Good evening and welcome back to Frame of Midlife. It is Tuesday evening, the week is going not too bad, and this evening we are talking about rising costs. I read somewhere, and I haven't actually been doing the news today, so it must have been a headline or something, um, but seemingly food costs have gone up. I think it's £275 over the year. So nearly £300 on average for food bills for the year. And I'm like, really? Well, that's a bit of a thing. And then you get the fuel costs going up. And then there's all the stuff about water and how it's going to have to go up. And with the water, there was something said at some point recently where, yes, especially I think it's Thames Water, whatever happens, it's going to cost customers because they're going to have to improve the facilities, etc., and the infrastructure. But there's also the thing at the moment where they're looking to build data centres, and data centres take a lot of water and a lot of power. And I'm like, where is this all coming from? How is this going to happen? And how are we going to afford it? Because no matter what else happens, bills are going up and they're not going to go down anytime soon. I mean, yes, your fuel may go down a bit. Certainly not a lot where I am. The difference, Perth is so high for fuel, it's ridiculous. I mean, I went up to see Hazel, she lives up Forfar way, and it was, what was it, 144 a litre for diesel in Perth, and it was 137 a litre for diesel in the service station on the motorway just on the outskirts of Dundee. You know, that's a huge difference that we're paying every time we travel, sort of thing, every time we fill up. So there's things like that going on. And I saw a clip. Yes, I was on TikTok, I know. What can I say? But it was it The Landman or something? Something like that. And there was, what's his face? The guy, I can't remember his name, is it Billy Bob Thornton? If it's not, I apologise to whoever it is. But he was out at a wind turbine with some female, and she was like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Oilman, tell me how this is." And whoever the writer of this script was did it very well, because the guy's like, "Yeah, you're saying, wind power. Let's stop using so much oil and gas." It's like the whole world runs on oil and gas. The oil to lubricate the turbine, the diesel that's used for the generators to mix the concrete, to transport the stuff there, to do whatever, the trucks that transport it, the roads that the trucks use to transport it. Do you know, it reminds me of that nursery rhyme, for want of a nail, all for the want of a horseshoe nail. Our whole infrastructure is built on this, and it's not going away anytime soon. So price rises aren't going away anytime soon. And as I say, I mean, £275 increase in food costs. And the first thought is, well, I'm not going to get a wage rise that much. Now, a lot of people will get a wage rise that much, but that will cover the food. What about the increase in price for your diesel for your car or your petrol? What about the increase in price for your water bills? The increase in price for your rent, your mortgage? The increase in price for electricity, for heat, for light, etc., etc. And I'm just like, this is never ending. So yeah, it's little things like that it's one headline you see, but then when you add it up to the other headlines, it's just a big, big difference. And today Kathleen was talking about maybe trying to get a work from home job because at the moment it's costing her a lot in fuel. And we're like, right, okay. Now, as you know, I recently moved the desk upstairs to clear out some space in the sitting room. And the first thought that came to my brain was, if you're working from home, we're bringing the desk back into the sitting room because that's where the wood burner is. We do not want to be using electricity to heat the room upstairs in the winter when we've got a perfectly good wood burner here. So, yeah, it's little things like that that are starting to go through my head now with right, we need to think about that. At the moment, the desk being upstairs isn't a big deal because I don't use it that much. I'll use it if I need to use a laptop, but a lot of stuff I do on my phone. But yeah, there's a lot of costs that are going up, and a lot of wages that aren't going up by as much as the costs. And you start to wonder, how tight can that belt be? People are saying tighten your belt. How much do we need to tighten it? And don't get me wrong, I am very, very lucky at the moment. We've got the 2 incomes coming into the house, etc. We are not struggling by any manner of means. Although I say I'm skint, that's me budgeting. We are not on the hand to mouth section, or we're not that bad at the moment. But it's like, just when is this going to stop? And obviously it's not, so we need to think of other ways of doing things. And the preparing meals, that's us. We've just now finished off the chicken and sweet corn that I made on Sunday night. Kathleen's got some extra chicken out. She's having wraps tomorrow. I am on a half day tomorrow because I have to be, because I've got a doctor's appointment. So I will have whatever's left in the fridge. I think there's some potato salad there that Kathleen made. Obviously, I've still got chicken in the freezer, or I can just have it with some salad and such and just see what there is. But yeah, we're starting to... I think waste is the biggest thing we've cut down on in the last few years, especially food waste. We don't throw out nearly as much as we did. We're not perfect by any manner of means, but we are definitely looking at food waste and looking at making cheaper things. As I said to my colleague today, I used to buy so many chocolate biscuits when I did my big monthly shop. You would have seen in the videos if you were with it watching the channel at the time. I used to buy so many chocolate biscuits. Now I make my own flapjacks, and I get some of the cheaper biscuits just for emergencies. I am going to start looking at baking other biscuits as opposed to just flapjacks. But we're looking at things like that to cut the costs. Things like onions. I used to let onions sprout in my cupboard. Now I will chop them up and dehydrate them or freeze them so that they're not getting thrown out. So I think there's going to be a lot of people doing stuff like that. But yeah, that's my thought for today is, they're talking about food prices going up that much, but we all know it's not just the food price, the transport price, the heating, the lighting, the water, everything is going up. And our incomes, no matter how we get them, are not going up at the same speed. So, yeah, as I say, how tight are we going to have to make that belt? I wonder. And on that, I'm going to go and sit and have a cup of tea and go, and I'll deal with it later. Catch you later.